Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And it is a brand new episode of Who's That Cosplayer? And joining me today is somebody that I have had the pleasure of knowing. I want to say, what, this year, or was it last year that we met? Well, we haven't met yet, but we've been friends on social media. Was it last year?
Yeah, I want to say since like mid last year is when we got in contact.
Okay, so mid last year, and that is Itstaylortott. Taylor, first off, I love tater tots. I love the cosplay name. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. It's hard coming up with like a name, trying to make yourself unique without like, having like the dots or underscores or lots of numbers. So I was like, let me think, what's something I can play with my name with,
Yeah, I love it so much. There's one cosplayer who followed me, and their name is Mac and Cheese Cosplay, and I was just like, perfect. I was like, perfect. And then one of my former guests, Sniffer Dude Cosplay. Like when I was just like, Sniffer Dude Cosplay, like what is that? So yes, I love the creativity when it comes to cosplay names. So again, thank you so much for joining me. Y'all check out Sniffer Dude's interview. It is up here on YouTube. And before we get into today's interview, everybody make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And as D always says, podcast link down below in the description. Like, follow, subscribe. So let's go ahead and get into today's interview. So Taylor, the first question that I ask each and every guest up here is, what is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one. And since you do a lot of villain cosplays, I'm just going to assume that you're a villain. So tell everybody your origin story.
So actually, honestly, it is kind of a villain origin story. So I kind of started cosplaying to spite my parents because I've always wanted to cosplay. I was into like Supernatural back in like 2008.
Hey!
I've been into I'm only 18 years old, but I've been watching Supernatural since I was about 4. And I've always wanted to cosplay from it. Or like when I was younger, I was like always wanted to cosplay it. But my parents were always like, no, you can't do that. So I happen to be a dancer. I'm classically trained in ballet.
Nice.
So one of my friends at my studio started cosplaying, I want to say in 2017. And as she like grew as a cosplayer and like, just really got a feel for things, it just made me want to do it more and more and more. Kept asking. It was always like a not only no, but hell no,
Yeah.
But I decided I got my first job the summer of 2021. And on May 31st, I bought my first costume. And I said, screw y'all, I'm doing it by myself. You don't gotta buy it for me. I can do it myself. And so that's what happened. And really, they weren't super supportive at first, but they've grown to really like it and respect what I do. Because they like, at first they're like, what's the point? Like you're just buying costumes and dressing up. But then I started making a lot of stuff and building props and all of that. And they kind of grew a respect for it. But I cosplay a lot of villains because, I'm always a little devious.
I love that so much. And, I got to piggyback and go back to Supernatural because I love Supernatural. When I first started watching the series, I had a man crush on Dean Winchester. And I remember the girl that I was with at the time, like all she would have to say is Dean and I would start blushing. And I was just like, yo, what is going on? And she used to embarrass me. Like I remember one time we were at a friend's house and she was like, y'all watch this. And she was like, Dean. And I was like, stop. So I gotta ask you, Dean or Sam?
Oh,
or Castiel, because there's some
I'm
people.
Gonna say Castiel all the way. I am an angel boy. No, seriously, Jensen himself is such a sweetheart. I've had the pleasure of interacting with him before. I had a friend go to a con to meet him way back in 2018 or 2019 when they did that Supernatural con in Orlando.
Yeah.
Whenever that was. They went to go meet him and had me on the phone with him so I could still talk to him even though I wasn't allowed to go to the convention. Sweetest guy. Yeah. Like, I loved meeting him and then meeting Misha through Gishwez, that little thing that he used to do.
Yeah.
It was so lovely getting to interact with both of them. So, Supernatural I hold so dearly to my heart because the actors I've met from it have all been such incredibly nice people.
Okay, so now since we're talking about Supernatural, I got to ask you, like, what were your thoughts on the Winchesters? Did you watch it, or did you just like,
no,
it's non-canon?
No, I mean, I heard not so great things about it, so I was kind of like,
Yeah.
I didn't want it to ruin how I felt about Supernatural, so I was kind of like, you know what? Unless I get like someone really close to me that if my mom or my dad watched it, because I used to watch the show with them. If either of them had watched it and loved it, I would have been like, okay, maybe. But even they were like, no, you know. And they liked all like the bad Marvel movies that have come out lately. So it's like,
yeah, I feel like that there was no need for it. I watched the first episode. I got halfway through it, and I was just, yeah, I'm good on it. It's just the series was so good, and it's not too often where I get to talk about Supernatural with a guest. So I think that this is awesome. So, final Supernatural question: did you ever watch the Supernatural anime?
Of course I did. Of course I did. Technically, the Supernatural anime was my first ever anime.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I watched that. Oh, I did not start watching anime like fully until 2020. Like I was really big on Teen Titans when I was younger. So I was like I love Teen Titans and I love like cartoons, but I never found myself getting into anime because I had an ex that was kind of like anti-anime because they watched Death Note once and was like, anime's awful. And so I never really found myself getting into it. But I remember watching the Supernatural anime when it was still on Netflix.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was up there. It was
ancient.
Yeah, man. Well, I do want to say, everybody that's watching, if you haven't watched the Supernatural anime, check it out if you can find it anywhere. And I want to say that
it's pretty good.
It is good. It is good. And I just want to let everybody know we interviewed Dean Winchester's voice actor because Jensen Ackles didn't voice Dean up there. It was a voice actor named Anakin Slade who voiced him. And then Jensen Ackles came in at the end of the series. But yeah, we can move back to cosplay. I just wanted to throw that out there. The interview, it is on YouTube.
No. I love that.
I know.
I'm cosplaying a Grim Reaper, so I'm like, it's good enough. Hey, close enough, man.
So getting back to like cosplay stuff, and mentioning the villains, and I love that you said that you make your own cosplays, you make your own props and whatnot. I want to know, like, what was it that I saw that in the background, and I wasn't sure. Like, I was just like, it looks like a chainsaw, but look, now we know it is a chainsaw.
It's my trusty chainsaw.
So I want to ask you, like, what was it that made you want to, make your own cosplays and props?
My partner, Lunar Noir, he came into my life last April of 2022. And he had just finished making funeral dobby, like his whole funeral dobby build that, like, we've all seen it. It's insane. It's incredible. The OG, the holy funeral dobby. I love it so much. We had just started dating as he was finishing that. Watching his creative process and then looking at how beautifully it turned out, it really like kind of motivated me. And then when I was a helper for a friend of mine, level 1 cosplay, at a guesting gig that she guested at CosCon in Jacksonville last July, and I saw all the things that she had made. I was like, okay, let's do this. And then that's why I met Overhaul. Overhaul's mask is my first prop. Kellen Goff signed it for free. I love him.
Hey,
I love him to death.
Nice.
He did. It's somewhere in this room. But he signed it for free because when he saw my Overhaul, he was like, oh. But that was still, that was the first prop I ever made. And then right as season 6 was getting ready to debut, I found Shigaraki's War Arc outfit in the manga and was like, I need to make this now. Funny enough, that's the picture that's right behind you right now.
See, and I didn't do that on purpose. I love it when the Magic TV does that.
And so I loved it. And I was like, I need to make this now. And so far, I'm the only person I've ever seen who's attempted that build, which I'm very like thankful. I had to do a lot of self-patterning for it because there wasn't much out there. But I was like, I want to make something that nobody else does, and I want to be special for it, and I want it to be like a trademark for me because I want to put more work into this. I want to take this more seriously.
I love that.
Oh yeah.
And one thing I want to say, I did interview your partner Luna Noir Cos. shout out to them. You can check out their interview. It is up here on the channel, and go give them a follow as well. So I think that that's awesome that, you know, they were one of the people that influenced you to want to, you know, do that type of stuff. I think it's always awesome when, you know, you get to that level where it's just like, I want to make my own stuff, because it kind of puts you in a place where it's just like, I really don't need to purchase cosplays anymore. It's just like, if there's something that I see, I just go to the store, buy whatever fabrics I need, buy whatever materials, and I put the stuff together. So I want to ask you now, because we're talking about this, like, what has been like the hardest prop that you made? And because it was hard for you, like, what was the, you know, experience like for you doing that?
Okay. Oh, this is a hard one. It's between two. It's between my hawk swings or my chainsaw that's right behind me. The chainsaw was difficult because I had to get it done in 2 days. I made it in 2 days. And there were no patterns of it online, nothing. You look up chainsaw prop and you find nothing but Chainsaw Man stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, so I had to self-pattern this like all on my own and just figure it out. But it was so rewarding because the director of Black Butler signed it for me, because he was like, you put in so much, you know, hard work for it. So I'm gonna, you know, put a piece of myself on this prop, and gave me like a little note card. So if I ever meet any other Black Butler voice actors in the future, they'll sign my chainsaw cost free. And it is very, very, very sweet. It was so rewarding. I was so happy I got it done.
Who's that cosplayer?
I am Feral_Mans.
And then the hawk swings, because I discovered the reason nobody does wing builds. Nobody builds wings because it's so notoriously difficult. It was such trial and error. And honestly, when people ask how I did it, I'm like, I don't know if you should do it the way I did. Because what I did was I made a framing out of copper wire and then wrapped an old t-shirt around it. So there was the copper wire and then just like the base shirt hanging. And I glued all my feathers to the shirt, reinforced the copper wire with a thermoplastic that heated up and made it really nice and strong, painted it, and then put fur over that seam right there. And it was a pain. It was a pain. 537 feathers that had to be cut out and detailed and painted. Oh, so bad. My garage floor is still bright red from the spray paint.
But I mean, I think that that's really awesome, man. You know, I feel like the harder the challenge is, the more, you know, you'll love that you actually did it and you didn't give up and you completed it, and you could tell everybody this story right here and right now. So final prop building thing that I want to ask you is, what is some advice that you would give to anybody that, you know, they want to learn how to make their own props?
All right. So my number one thing is Etsy is your best friend. Etsy templates will take you through. And if you find a template, especially for your first prop, try to find a video that goes with it if you don't know someone who frequently builds props. That's what I did with my overhaul mask, because even though I had Loon with me to help me, like, kind of guide me through the process of like what to heat gun and what to like, you know, how to use the different tools.
Yeah.
Always try to, for your first prop build or your first sewing project, try to find a video with a tutorial. I know that I don't remember their username, but if you look up overhaul mask tutorial, you'll know exactly which one because it looks identical to mine. They have a free template and a video tutorial to go along with it. That person does so much. Like they do something from everything with full video tutorials and free, and free patterns. So that will really help you through. And buying good tools is so worth it in the end.
Yeah.
Buy a nice sewing machine. Buy a serger once you get more familiar with sewing, because it helps with your seam lines. And buy nice EVA foam. I believe it's like TNT EVA foam is like the best you can get on the market. It is amazing. Invest in it. It is so worth it.
Yeah, it's crazy that you say that about the TNT foam. One of my friends, like, she told me about that. It's crazy. She's the first person that I interviewed on Who's That Cosplayer, and
oh wow,
yeah, and she told me about the TNT foam, and like she said it was really good. Like, I mean, you know, I know that you can get the foam from Michael's, and what's the other place? Hobby Lobby. But she said that TNT foam is the best. And that's Lila 350. Go and give her a follow and check out her interview. It was the first interview. Like when I tell her about Who's That Cosplayer, she says that she's the Captain America of Who's That Cosplayer. She's the first. She's the first cosplayer. Avenger. Yeah, she's the first cosplayer. So now moving along, I want to ask you, because I love My Hero Academia and I love your My Hero Academia cosplay. So I want to know what is your favorite fight from the series so far?
By far the ending of season 3, the fight between All Might and All for One.
Oh,
still
my
favorite, the best. It was so good, so good. Oh my goodness. I also, I'm trying to think. That really has it for me. I also like the Deku and Muscular fight from season 3. Season 3 had some good shit.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of people fell off at season 3, but I agree with you. Both of those fights were really good. To start it off with Deku versus Muscular. And one thing that I love about both of those fights is that Deku and All Might both say during their fights that they have to remember where they started from and where they are now. And it's so crazy because Deku is just starting his journey, but from season 1 to season 3, he's come so far in such a short span of time. Whereas with All Might, he's been fighting for years, and now he's fighting against All for One, and you know what I'm saying? Not All for One, but One for All. He's fighting against him, and it's just like I still got to remember where I started from because I've come a long way. So great choices.
So that fight, and then I really liked. I just remembered what I was thinking of. I really, really, really loved season 4, the Overhaul and Deku fight at the end.
Oh my god,
that was.
I also
cry? Just love Overhaul. Huh?
Did you cry?
Oh yeah, you started playing. I lost it. I lost it.
Oh my god,
it was so bad.
Oh yeah,
no, that was. Yeah, I love Overhaul. I love that arc. Overhaul was such a well-written villain. It's very hard to find a show where you don't fall in love with the villain, you hate the villain. Overhaul is 100% that villain. Like, you love him because he's so interesting, but he's such a terrible person.
Yeah, man.
But he's
oh my god,
one of the most well-done villains in the show.
I agree with you on that. Overhaul is my favorite villain from My Hero Academia. And I cried when the music started playing and Eri jumped into Deku's arms. Like, it was just so crazy. And it's crazy because as somebody who reads the manga, like I had already read that chapter, and like reading the manga, like I was excited that Deku finally saved Eri, but like actually watching it in the anime, and I was like, yo, this is it's pulling the heartstrings. So I was going to ask you who your favorite villain is, but you already said it's Overhaul. So I want to know, who is your favorite hero?
So actually, Overhaul, I love him, but I don't think he's my favorite. My favorite is Shigaraki, obviously. I cosplay him. That man, I love him. Oh, he's the best. He's the best. Goated villain.
Okay, all right. So favorite hero.
So actually, I like Hawks. Hawks is up there. I cosplay him. I went through the pain in the ass of building his wings. But actually, my favorite hero is not one. It's the Wild Wild Pussycats from season 3. I love them. I love them so much. They're so adorable. Actually, me, my partner, and our 2 best friends just made the whole costume and wore it to MetroCon.
Nice.
What was that? 2 weekends ago? Last weekend?
Yeah.
Something like that. But they have always, like, I've always had such a soft spot for them because I love their dynamic. I think they're all really funny. And they're all really interesting, and they were so memorable for how short they were in the show. Yeah,
I agree with you on that. And I love that, like, each of them, it's like their quirks, like, they go so well together, especially in season 3 when they were fighting when the Vanguard had showed up and they had to fight them and whatnot. So final My Hero Academia question for you is, if you were in the world of My Hero Academia, what would your quirk be? A quirk that you haven't seen in the series so far. What would it be?
Oh Lord. Oh my God, this is so hard. This is a horrible question. Oh, what would it be? I'm trying to think. Honestly. Oh wait, no, that's President Mike's quirk. This is tough. Oh my God. Probably something relating to dancing. I'm trying to think of what though, because that's like what I'm good at.
Honestly,
like that. Probably like if I danced long enough, my legs would like turn into steel and I could beat the shit out of someone. That's what would happen.
Okay, I thought that you were gonna go in the direction of when you start dancing, you're able to like think of a Michael Jackson video, right? Like in Smooth Criminal. Yeah. Like it's like once he started dancing in the club, like all of the other thugs started dancing with him. So that's what I was thinking of.
Oh, honestly, that's so much smarter. That is bingo. Brilliant.
Because think about it, because it's like they're following your dance moves and they can't break out of it. And then now the other hero that's there with you, they can easily take them out. You know what I'm saying? But
that's I was gonna say that's like Shinso's quirk, but a little more developed. I like
exactly
it.
Right. And I think it would be cool because if you want to do those TikTok dances, you can have like 100 people doing the dance with you, which would be funny.
Oh yeah.
So we're here at the end of the interview, and I feel like we could continue talking because this has been fun. I mean, especially kudos, you get 2 pinkies because we were talking about Supernatural at the start of this thing. But before we wrap this thing up, I gotta know, because you are going to be a cosplay guest at a con that's going to be coming up soon.
Yes,
and by the time this interview comes out, the con will have already passed. But I just want to ask you, like, how is that feeling? Getting into cosplay, not having the support at first, and then, seeing everything that you've done now, and now you're going to be a guest. Like, how's that feeling?
So I've guested at a couple cons in the past.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No. I'm adding this on to the conversation. This is my first out of state guesting spot because it's always hard. When you establish yourself in one state, it is so hard to get guesting spots in other states. So this is like a new step of the journey. So you are not wrong in that regard. My first guesting gig was Ancient City Con last year. And when I got the call that I was going to be a guest, I like dropped to my knees and started crying. I was so happy. Like, it was so amazing finding out that people liked me enough for like to want to see me.
Yeah.
And at that, I remember at Brick City Anime Festival this past February, me and Adrian in total, or Loon, I'm so sorry, made a collective of $500 because people wanted to buy our prints, like buy our like photos of our cosplays. And I was like, I'm in shock that I've always struggled to make friends. And actually this past year, as I grew as a cosplayer, I got bullied a lot at school. Because I just finished up my senior year and people were not nice. People were actually really, really, really mean. I have not received a lot of support in my personal life, but now as a cosplayer, the fact that so many people kind of respect me, and my videos on TikTok are starting to do like significantly better, and I'm starting to grow at a much quicker rate. I could not be more thankful for everyone, for people like you, for people like my followers, my manager, the people who've invited me to guest. It means so much to me. And anytime I kind of lose sight of that and be like, oh, I'm falling off, I don't have as much, content, or I don't have as much like clout or followers as this person. I remember, honestly, I was never supposed to do this. I was never supposed to be allowed to be a cosplayer. And I'm so honored that in the short 2 years I've been in the community, I've grown so much and had so much support from so many people. And it has brought me my partner, who we have been together for a year and a half now. We're getting ready to move together. So that's going to be really, really, really great. It brought me closer to my 2 current best friends. It has just been such an amazing and fantastic thing for me. So I just want to say to anybody who's watching, thank you. I love you. Each and every one of you, each and every follower I get makes me smile. And I love doing this.
Hey, I love that. And like that was really dope. That's a really good way to end the interview. And I, as somebody that is an advocate against bullying, I really appreciate you saying that. And to everybody that's watching this interview, like I hope that your words move them. You know what I'm saying? So thank you so much, and thank you so much for your kindness. It really touched my heart, man. So before we wrap this thing up, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
Okay, yeah, totally. And also just kind of one last thought on that. My DMs are always open. If anybody needs a place to talk or vent or just ask for some advice, I am somebody who is always communicative and always happy to talk to my fans. I don't care if you have 1 follower. I don't care if you have 100,000 followers. I will treat you all the same. I will be here as somebody to talk to if anything isn't looking so good. I don't care if I just met you. If you have something going on and you got no one to come to, please come to me. And speaking of which, you can find me at Itstaylortott with 2 T's on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and yeah.
Awesome. Hey, y'all make sure that y'all go follow Itstaylortott on all of their social media accounts. And y'all know where y'all can find me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you all again for watching this interview. Make sure you check out more of our interviews that we have here on the channel. And like I always say, keep that pinky up. Stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.